Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. My name is Chris Branson. I'm right here on Twitch, on the YouTube, on the Tweeter. No, not on the Tweeter today. I gotta fix that up. Anyhow, what we're doing today is getting ready for WrestleMania Night 1, leading you into, as I call myself, the appetizer to the main dish this afternoon at 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central. Sped Rock Productions, host Point Taken. This week we have Tori Henson from the Kicking Out at 2 podcast, taking on the Catalyst, the Mayor of Canada, the first 4-time champion Stampede, the man who conquers the no, who holds classic Twitter spaces, Carlos, and the reigning, defending, two-time Point Taken champion from the Elite Mob Squad, Mob Miz, or as we know him, Mike. Other than that, let's get on with the festivities, shall we? Today, we're gonna, as you see right here, me and the boss, El Jefe, Sped Rock, up y'all. Master of Ceremonies, Master of Disaster, and everything else. The greatest Point Taken referee in the history of Point Taken. That's Sped Rock. We're going to be working on the background here. Going to dress this up, make it look a little bit better, a lot more nice. Add a few more accoutrements. What up, Sped? Sped in the chat, as you can see. But today, let's get to the 3 topics. Now, this is how I run my show. Nice little time I kill, because I haven't set that up yet on this. Like I said, this is rudimentary. This is not the final form. This isn't the final boss edition of the chat. But I run the timer on my phone. When the timer goes off, I go moving right to the next subject so that we don't stay on one topic for too very long. Because I used to like doing that. And just, no. Anyhow. Hey. I'm afraid I've got some bad news, Sped. We got some things to work on. Anyhow. A little bad news Barrett tribute there for you. Let's see here. When I say this right I am cautiously optimistic with the WrestleMania card today and tomorrow night. As I have said on the Run In Wrestling podcast WrestleMania predictions episode, find that on your YouTube, on the Twitch, and other places that Sped Rock, Big Mike, Crystal from the Wrestling Queen Cypher podcast, Tori, and the Brains Mike from the Kicking Out 2 podcast. We all were able to give our expert opinions, some comedy, some laughs in there, some spiciness when it needed it. But other than that, I will kind of highlight the 3 matches I'm looking more forward to, which are the main events, and Obafemi and Brock Lesnar. And why am I going to talk on those? Basically because here's the thing. Those 2 matches are going to lead us into what is going to be the next year of broadcasting for WWE. Not necessarily, let's see here. His chicken wings went bad last night. More chicken wings. What the hell? Spad needing to go get new chicken wings because the other chicken wings went bad. Yeah, well played, sir. Well played. Tonight's is going to be the start. If there is a TKO WWE storyline to come the next year, how does that affect not just Raw and SmackDown, but there's two other entities under TKO, that being NXT and AAA. Uh, how does it affect the TNA partnership? Do I think it affects it? No. In all honesty, you can't really say that it's going to have a belaboring effect on that. I mean, TNA are going to make their missteps whether they're partnered up with WWE or not. It's just, that's how it is. We're setting up for WrestleMania Riyadh, which I am cautiously optimistic yet again that this is going to change in regards to the safety and protection of the talent. If we're still dealing with certain geopolitical issues, it's not easy to kind of work those things. Let me tell you, as a person who had been over there, as a member of the United States Air Force, I can tell you how many rooms I used to sit in with people much higher ranked than me, discussing the freedom of legitimately the free world. So, yeah, Cody and Cody and Randy, it's a 20-year story, as they have told you multiple times. Um, to be outside of his father and his brother Dustin, a surrogate brother, surrogate family member, a mentor, a person that probably, when Cody said, "Hey, screw it," the first time, and went on and did his thing, built his brand, built AEW along with the Bucks and Omega, sat there and was able to sit there and go, you know what? When I come back to WWE, this is the medal I can hang on my chest. And I guarantee you, that Randy inspired Cody to go, you know what? Go do it, brother. Now we're going back full circle. And yes, I know, we had the King of the Ring final in Saudi, I think a little over a year ago, maybe 2 years ago. Stampede could check me on the facts. Um, and yeah, the inclusion of Pat McAfee is not something anybody likes, but a lot of times what we don't like ended up working. I hate to say it that way. Um, do I wish it wouldn't work just to get Pat to back to being an ambassador and going and sitting on College Game Day and doing his own show? Sure. And, I kind of disagree with CM Punk. He's not just a tourist. For about the last 5 years, McAfee, yeah, he probably never drew a ticket. But let's remember, we had Gunther and McAfee last year, and I'm pretty sure McAfee's influence put a few butts in seats. More so Gunther than Pat. But how do you set up for 1 year ahead when you're going 15 minutes behind? And I'll explain what I mean by that. When you have to go back in time to kind of go, okay, this. There are chapters. There was the chapters with Cody and Roman. Okay, Cody comes back, faces off against arguably best wrestler inside that company outside of Shawn Michaels, Seth Rollins. Once he sets up Seth Rollins sets him up for success, and that's not saying that Cody needed Seth. The onus is now, can I beat Randy? Can Randy give me the match that I so rightfully deserve? That's the biggest thing in all this. Is Randy going to give us the match that Cody deserves? Now, I know the dirt sheets have been saying, oh, hey, Randy's injured or he's coming in as walking wounded. there's been a lot of times that Randall K. Randall Keith Orton has come into a WrestleMania ring at not 100% and still giving you. And I argue sometimes that Meltzer should give him a lot more 5-star ratings that he's ever had given any WWE talent, which is one, maybe one. And are we going to see, even if it is not 100% Randy Orton, do the best job to make sure that that match doesn't fall flat on its face like Cena and Rhodes did last year, with all the build up and the hoopla and then the almost unwatchable payoff at WrestleMania? You know, it didn't benefit Cena. It sure as hell didn't benefit Rhodes. At least they got to dance it back at SummerSlam. Is Randy and Cody going to be the predominant year-long story? Maybe. We've got Obafemi now. We've got Javon Evans. We've got Trick Williams. We've got a bevy of talent that are coming up from NXT soon. I mean, hell, yesterday it wasn't even advertised, and you had Joe Hendry from NXT just recently, until Stand and Deliver, their champion down there in NXT. So we're going to see a bevy of new faces. We're going to, unfortunately, see a lot of faces that are going to have to be cut in favor of new WWE economics. I'm paraphrasing a line from a favorite movie of mine. But in all honesty, it's going to deliver, but people are still going to be pissed off whether or not you like it or not. Whether you like the extra inclusion of Pat McAfee, and you're going to have your 50-50 crowd. It's going to be a 50-50 feeling one way or another. Honestly, I see Randy Orton taking the L. I see Cody turning heel. And I think that falls into night 2. Now I'm going to kind of follow the card order. So Randy and Cody being night 1. Let's move on to what is either going to be the beginner or the follow-up to the 6-person IC ladder match, which is Obafemi and Brock Lesnar. Now, you can argue that Brock Lesnar and Obafemi have been well nurtured in regards to setting up this feud since that open challenge months ago. I think it's been Paul Heyman and Paul Levesque and Shawn Michaels to some extent ensuring that Oba has been protected. And do I think Obafemi needs protection? No. There is still going to be a little bit of green on Oba. There's a little bit of green on everybody that comes up from NXT or gets signed from outside the company. AJ Styles, recent conversation was that AJ Styles thought he needed to go to NXT to get a little salt up, a little dress up before hitting the main roster. Obviously, after what happened last night at the Hall of Fame, we don't have to argue that point anymore. No. But, that being said, you're looking right now, and I kid you not as I say this, you're looking at Brock Lesnar 2002 with Obafemi. Now, let's not belabor the controversies of now and going, you know what, let's hope he doesn't end up like Brock Lesnar in 2026. Obafemi is a smart young man, a national champion shot putter from the University of Alabama. Obviously Nigerian roots, but we've all seen those level up videos. If you haven't, I'm sure you'll know what I mean. But Oba right now is the next big thing. And there is no arguing that if they decide to pull the trigger early with a World Heavyweight Championship run, a WWE Championship run, the workhorse titles of the IC and the United States Championships, uh, that was undeserving. If somebody says that, it's about paying your dues, but if that means money in the pocket of the person he's facing off against, and yeah, that person probably, I probably sat there and said, you know what, I'm gonna shit on this moment for Oba. Wait, you know what? Oba's the one putting the butts in the seats. Brock is just going, you know what? Young man's making me money. In a couple months, I can call it a day at the hands of the career killer Gunther, or the artist formerly known as Walter, as Stampede likes to say. And it's, you're going to watch in real time WrestleMania Sunday a guy who, I kid you not when I say this, is destined to be the biggest thing in wrestling when we lose a CM Punk, a Cody Rhodes, a Seth Rollins, and Roman Reigns to the annals of WWE history. When it's time for them to hang up the boots because the body says no more. And even then, they're going to be the ones navigating, most likely, the course that Obafemi is going to take his generation on, so that way we still have a WWE, whether it's with TKO, whether it's with another company. Honestly, I don't see WWE ever leaving TKO. If they do, then it's a difference of opinion between Ariel Emanuel and other people that I'm not in the food chain to understand, know, or even tell you about. So we'll go from there. Now I'm going to spend the last 8 minutes. I am a CM Punk fan through and through. I have been for as long as the man's existed. I'm also an Undertaker fan. I have very healthy respect for Roman Reigns. But remember, when Roman dropped to Cody, when he broke the 1,316 day championship streak, surpassing such luminaries as Bob Backlund and CM Punk himself, and the multiple reigns of other champions. CM Punk, we all know, is on his last run. For how long that run goes, never know. But we know he's on his last run as World Heavyweight Champion. He's going to probably try to get as much prestige to that title as can be afforded by one person. Now, WWE is not about one person. It's a operation that involves many pieces. But CM Punk, since he's been back, it's a marked difference from CM Punk that we knew when he left out 10 years ago. Because of the better relationship, we have his wife back. And I love AJ Lee. Don't get me wrong. AJ Lee, I could book the 4-way tonight, in night one. Make it make sense. Have its tiebacks in WrestleMania history. And hopefully, maybe we get that. If not, you know what? Then they have in their minds a better booking idea instead. Cool. Have at it. As Nick Khan and Triple H in interviews with ESPN and Variety and other media sources have said, that WrestleMania is scheduled to over-deliver and to make the fan happy. Well, if you ask the fan for the last 4 to 8 weeks, fan's not happy. Cage Match, the majority that live on cagematch.com or whatever, will tell you otherwise. And it is on the impetus. There's $1 million word right there. The impetus of Roman Reigns and CM Punk to over-deliver on this match. Why do I say that? Well, CM Punk Everybody, Roman famously said weeks ago he's old. Yeah. So was AJ Styles. So was John Cena. So was Triple H. Randy Orton is 45 years old and is in the main event night one. Yes, Roman Reigns is pushing almost 40 if he isn't already. What people don't understand is, even with the women, this, age cap on the women. Charlotte is 39 years old and can still wrestle like she was wrestling in NXT. Now, yeah, that brace on the knee kind of limits the flash a little bit, just a tad. AJ Lee is 38. You're getting some of their best work in however long they've been on the main roster in the eye of the WWE fan, even when they debuted in NXT or at Survivor Series, putting Ryback through a table during a match against CM Punk. That's what I don't get is a lot of fans will want to go shitting on the booking, but they don't open their mind to, okay, maybe I see why they did this here. Why they did that there. Why they put this person in this position and this guy did the job. I tend to be more of a wait and see kind of guy. Now, yeah, I've had my times where Vince's booking was so disgustingly, the aftertaste left in the mouth of everybody was so disgusting, he'd almost pushed me away. Now, we don't have Vince anymore. We have Triple H and we have Brian Gewirtz, because you can't tell me that Brian Gewirtz hasn't had a hand in creative, along with Ed Koskey and Ryan Ward and Alexandra Williams and all them, who do run the behind-the-scenes creative for WWE. Brian Gewirtz, they're going to replace Triple H with Brian Gewirtz. I hate to tell you this, but since TKO took over WWE, Brian Gewirtz and Paul Heyman are special assistants, more than likely to the chief creative officer and to Nick Khan on the WWE side. They are. They have been. Sometimes back in the Ruthless Aggression era, Gewirtz wasn't exactly the best writer himself. Ideas with Paul Heyman didn't hit. But the idea is Roman going back atop his throne as the tribal chief? Are we going to see a babyface, the start of the 7th inning of the babyface, the Bloodline saga, with the Bloodline now being babyfaces, or with Roman being a babyface tribal chief chasing the championship? We haven't seen Roman chase the championship in quite a long time. And that's not to say if he isn't part-timing. If he's part-timing, then you can forget that. But if he's going to make an extended run with that championship and not be seen for 6 months while the other championships carry the show, then don't put the title on there. And I hope people were paying attention to SmackDown's end last night. The two that were in the ring. The two that I think there is going to be a double turn, or at least a heel turn in both matches. I think Cody and Punk are more TKO than they're letting on, and that Randy and Roman are going to be the one baby faces chasing him. I think that Pat was inserted this to okie doke everybody. That being said, I got a minute left on this topic. I'm just going to go ahead and move on over to what is it? I'm going to move over on to our next topic, which is AEW. Now, coming off a masterful Dynasty pay-per-view, and I say this wholeheartedly, I was able to watch from opening bell to closing bell, and and the stocks, that's a stock comment for some of those in the non-financial world. I was able to sit there and watch it, and I was impressed. The fact that Chris Jericho, the Wall, the cornerstone of Jericho, the listness of Jericho, just Jericho, I guess at this point, doing the honors for Ricochet. Oh, Ricochet's a scumbag. He said something not nice online. Well, let me get onto that point real quick, and I'm gonna make this a quick 2-minute rant on that. When you come in talent, whether it's AEW, WWE, TNA, X, Y, and Z, your mother's best friend, your sister's backside, whatever you want to call it. Yes, they're going to play a character when they respond. Now, not gonna sit there and say, hey, you know what? Guess what? Shouldn't have gone there. Let that talent apologize to that person. Quit taking umbrage with the fact that, oh, he was talking about me too, when he wasn't. You know, treat these talent better, y'all. There are people who like to stalk people in airports for autographs. These people are persons too, human beings. They take abuse a different way other than just the ring when they have to see your tweets and your Instagrams and your, oh, why couldn't they do this with them? No. Be better people. That being said, going back to AEW this week, AEW was a hodgepodge of just good booking. And they're continuing to build on that booking. The rating came out this week before SmackDown. 710,000 people. They're just continuing that trend of getting back their audience and stealing a little bit of WWE's audience and stealing a little bit of TNA's audience. And that's not theft. It's just good booking gains people that want to watch it. WWE and WCW, for example. When WWE's booking and their matches and their programming got better, they started taking from WCW, who was knocking it out of the park almost every week. Eric Bischoff. We all pan Eric Bischoff. We all squash on Eric Bischoff. But here's the thing. Eric Bischoff, for 83 weeks, kicked Vince McMahon's backside from pillar to post. Now, why did I say that's important? Well, we're going to get into this during the largest part of the forthcoming conversation I'm having about AEW today. Is January 4th, 1999. I might be wrong on the date and time. I'm sure Sped will research this and let me know that I'm right. The same night as the Finger Poke of Doom, in which Kevin Nash dropped the World Heavyweight Championship back to Hulk Hogan after Scott Hall tased Goldberg at Starrcade. It's hard to sit there, a lot of times, to sit there and go, you know what? Okay, let's harken back to history because we want to see the business move forward. We want to see, people succeed in places that they might not have had a chance. AEW had a nice little callback, a little reparation of history, if you will. In that, that January night in 1999, Tony Schiavone will still tell you to this day. It bothers him because many will sit there and blame him for the downfall of WCW. Tony Schiavone didn't kill WCW. Eric Bischoff didn't kill WCW. Unfortunately, even though I'm not a Russo mark and really can't stand Vince Russo didn't kill WCW. The fact that money thrown at talent, that talent had limited, or that there was limited expectation that talent were going to play ball without being paid, And this is not a blame on Hulk Hogan and Kevin Nash, Scott Hall. They were smart for the time and what they did when they were free agents. They chased the money. The difference between a Vince and a Tony is you're going to earn that money. And if you're not on TV, well, with the AEW, they can go do the Pawns Fest. They can go do the Mark Hitchcock Memorial Show. If you have Triller or are able to watch with a friend, watch some of the stuff that Triller gets to put on. Right now, I've got Bloodsport in the background. I'm watching Zack Sabre Jr. In action right now while I'm talking to you all. Opportunities. Oh, well, we don't always see them. Well, guess what? As Stampede is famous to say to me a lot of times when Stampede gives me a little bit of advice or a bit of history is maybe that person is going somewhere to put another person over, to put the shine on another company that a WWE or would not necessarily kind of go, oh, we got to give them attention unless we're stealing their talent. Or acquiring their talent once contractually able to do so. I mean, flat out, AEW, the way Spring Break-In was booked, you know, and I'm going to go over the card real quick here. You had MJF being surprised by something that he knew the night before was going to happen, or a week before was going to happen. Tommaso Ciampa and Desmond Xavier or Wesley in NXT. Great match. I mean, Tommaso Ciampa barely has bad matches. FTR, you know, getting their flowers or getting their self-driven flowers because, oh, hey, you know, blah, 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 blah. Guess what? FTR has been booked between WWE and AEW as one of the best tag teams in the history of the sport. And where'd they take that inspiration from? Teams like the Midnight Express. Teams like the Rock and Roll Express. Harlem Heat. You know, teams, the Usos. The New Day. You know, all good tag teams have that ability to kind of go, as Tommaso Ciampa is so famously known to do himself as well. They set up Tekla versus Alex Windsor at Collision. That was a great match. Camille, I think, came back for two reasons. One, because it was time to have her back. Two, to put over American Gladiators, which has a ton of former WWE, TNA, NWA, AEW talent working with The Miz on that. You know, it is a broadly well done project. You know, unless they're going to unretire Nitro and Ice and Zap and Gemini. See, Powerhouse Hobbs could have been the new Gemini. But instead, he's now this year's Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal winner. Thank you to AEW for the fact that we were able to put a bigger set of eyes on Royce Keys or Powerhouse Hobbs as the AEW crowd knows him. Jon Moxley and Nick Wayne. There's a receipt coming for Nick Wayne. Busting open Jon Moxley the hard way. It added to the match, but young man's looking down a beatdown here in the near future. Move over to Collision. The Bucks and the Rascals. If I told you 10 years ago we were going to be able to see the Bucks and the Rascals in the same ring, in the same company, doing their work, you'd have probably called me crazy. Well, I ain't crazy no more. The time in the asylum has given me clear and bright perspective on the World Wrestling picture. Not to steal a name from a company, but the picture of the wrestling world as it goes. Um, let's head down to the main point in all this. Like I said, going back to Tony Schiavone. Tony Schiavone has had to live hearing people say that blah 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 that night was the reason why WCW started to take a nosedive. Was it a good business decision to say that and spoil Monday Night Raw from Worcester, Mass, or Providence? It might have been one of the two. It was in the Northeast. So let's just put it that way, just to cover bases here. When he spoiled Mick Foley winning the World Heavyweight Championship from The Rock, from The Rock, probably unwise. But Darby Allin, who a lot of people compare to Mick Foley, the stunts, the craziness, the insanity that Darby Allin puts his body through, the fact that by the time he's my age or much older, probably is going to wheel himself around in a wheelchair. But the other things that he's been able to do, mainly the biggest, is survive the climb to Mount Everest, to the top of Mount Everest. There are a truly elite group of people that have assailed Everest. There have been more bodies left dead on certain points in Everest than have been able to successfully climb Mount Everest. So that in itself, Darby didn't need a championship. Darby, there are times I'll sit there and watch a Darby Allin match and be like, oh my God, what the hell did I just watch? It used to be that way with Mick Foley, whether it was WCW when he was Cactus Jack. When he bled Cactus Jack over into Japanese death matches and ECW. Mick Foley is an everyday man. That's what Darby Allin is. He wakes up, he goes and does his thing, he does what he's supposed to, and then he rinses and repeats. That's what Mick Foley was an everyday man. He was there just to see, oh hey, who am I putting over? And when Vince McMahon and people like Paul Heyman that saw something in him go, hey, by the way, we're gonna benefit you this week by smashing up the old World Championship and give it to you as the Hardcore Championship. And it had a good little run. Much better run than the 24/7 title, I would say, but that's neither here nor there, germane to this discussion. With Darby Allin got to sit under the learning tree of one of the greatest Monday Night Wars era talents in the history of the business, in Steve Borden and Sting. The fact that Steve Borden broke his promise to never wear the face paint again still upsets me. Just kidding. But the fact that Steve Borden was able to come and support his student, for lack of a better use of terms, to be able to be in that face paint one more time, to see that image of the painted side of Darby's face straight even with the front of Sting's face. You knew in that moment you were on to something special about to happen. 4 coffin drops, and they harken back to the history between MJF and Darby, where it was a simple headlock takeover on 4 different occasions that got dubs for MJF. Cool. Hey, proud of MJF. Congratulations. MJF is now the new big thing in that world. I mean, he's a sought after commodity. You can ask Adam Sandler that fact. But Darby Allin was the champion that in wrestling that we needed right now. The way the insanity of the world is, we needed somebody that even if they're going to throw their body into their work, literally, could still have us smiling, laughing, going, what the? After he's done, and still be entertained. Still get our minds off the nonsense of the world. But, Darby Allin is what we needed. What would have made that moment better is having Tony Khan invite Mick Foley to that show. But I guarantee you, in the back of Tony Schiavone's mind, what he was seeing was a little bit of catharsis to be able to sit there and go, you know what? This is our Mick. This is one of the pillars of this era of AEW. I get to right a wrong that people have accused me of for so many years. Which, like I said, I don't blame Tony Schiavone. Tony Schiavone was told by Eric Bischoff to do this, and he did it because he's a good professional employee. He was able to have his moment of redemption from that moment so many years ago in January of 1999. Close up the show today. We're going to go on to the next topic, which, I like to hit all three major American companies. Eventually I'll add some Maple Leaf. I'll add some, and the talk periods will shrink with those. MLW and all those other companies. TNA's product is great. If you watch it, sometimes things are a little hokey, especially with Santino Marella. But Santino Marella was hired to be hokey. He was hired to be funny. He was the comic relief. But the in-ring work of the talent speaks for itself. You can watch a PLE pay-per-view, whatever you want to call it, for TNA on TNA Plus or through your pay-per-view resources. And you go, okay, those men and women are doing well. Are they going to have a here and there 2-star match every once in a while? It's professional wrestling. I'm pretty sure I can get Stampede to tell me how many WWE 2-star matches during a Monday Night Raw, or should have been a 2-star match, exist. And I'm pretty sure there are plenty. One of the best things about TNA right now is the fact that they're hearkening back to reintroducing Allie. And they're doing a damn good job with it by having Tessa Blanchard and Victoria Crawford or Alicia Fox, which, funny enough, as we're sitting here talking about WrestleMania and replacements, that Alicia Fox, I'm shocked, isn't Bree's partner going into WrestleMania tonight as a replacement for Nikki, if indeed Nikki is not capable or cleared to go. Now, we've all heard the rumors of Saraya and Paige, formerly known as Paige, or currently again known as Paige, taking her spot, which is a nice little nod to the WrestleMania 31 match between her, AJ Lee, versus the Bellas and the tag team match back then. But with that, the fact that they're able to tie up the knots with Chris Park or Abyss and allow him to ride off into the ether of TNA history, the fact that eventually James Mitchell, the Sinister Minister himself, will also no longer serve a story purpose within the auspices of TNA. And that I am a secretly proud Rosemary fan. People go, "Oh, you like Rosemary?" Well, yeah, I grew up on The Undertaker. I was enthralled by Bray Wyatt. I like a little bit of a darker edge to professional wrestling, to adding the occult, adding to different flavors, whether it's pop, metal, or hip hop, whether it's action, comedy, or horror. You know, what you get to watch on TV, whether it's a New Japan show, WWE, TNA, AEW, Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling. If you get a chance to watch on Honor Club, watch Global Wars. Some of the best wrestling that I can honestly say is nurtured by a Scott D'Amore up there in Canada. Broaden your horizons. Love all wrestling. Enjoy all wrestling. You don't have to necessarily be a fan, but here's the thing. 25 years ago, there was one company. One. We have WWE, AEW, TNA, Major League Wrestling, Maple Leaf Pro, CMLL, the oldest promotion in the world. AAA, Pro Wrestling Noah, New Japan, Total Joshi Pro Wrestling, Stardom, Marigold, Progress, WXW. We still have Ring of Honor. Thank God for Tony Khan keeping Ring of Honor. And turning Ring of Honor is where you can see the next people that are going to be on an AEW program from a program that literally launched a million careers. So getting to see Rosemary succeed when a lot of people just looked at that gimmick with her, Abyss, and Crazy Steve with the K, a lot of them just sat there and was like, you know what? We're just going to write this off. Rosemary is the longest mainstay, I believe female mainstay, in TNA right now. In TNA right now. That speaks to her ability to entertain and wrestle. Having EC3 back to right, which is looking more and more like his eventual ride off into the sunset. Not yet right now. Going off against a TNA pillar in Eric Young, the Canadian Madman, the super one, if you get the NWA TNA references, a founding member of Team Canada with Scott D'Amore. That is going to be a good match. It's going to be equal parts brawl, equal parts this, equal parts that, in regards to what Eric Young and EC3 are good at, which is just showing out. Mike Santana. Now, I don't know where they're leading Mike Santana. The scuttlebutt right now is Mike Santana is in a contract year, and he's looking down the expiration of his contract. Rumors have been that WWE is interested. You might see Mike Santana re-sign with TNA just to be their current cornerstone. We shall see. But giving Rich Swann has, as journeyman, has been through some things. Yeah, good times and bad, but Rich Swann still will go out there and show out any day of the week, regardless of the show you put him on. The system. I go back to Rebellion with this. And the fact that the system of all people still exists. You know, I get it. You turn them heel. You got rid of Dango. You got rid of Moose. You had Alicia fool everybody for a couple weeks that she was a babyface, when in fact she was just stabbing Moose in the back the whole entire time. Eventually, the system's going to get back to being the ones that are holding all the championships in TNA. Let them chase a little bit. Let them chase a Leon Slater and a Mike Santana. Let Moose be the gatekeeper that they all have to face off against until they're worthy or have earned that right to sit there and fight a Mike Santana, Leon Slater, a Mustafa Ali. Which I'm also kind of impressed that Mustafa Ali is doing what he's doing online to kind of take the heat off Carl Silva, which is inviting the world's best independent talent to come in and face him and get their shine. Uh, let's see here. Zaya Brookside and Lei Ying Lee. That match in itself, that match, when it comes, that is another person I think is going to go to WWE. I mean, the writing's on the wall there. Her father is Robbie Brookside, who, along with William Regal and Fit Finlay, who have children of their own in the NXT space, is going to be a member of Birthright. I eventually see Ariana Grace and Stax doing their own thing. I see Marie Malenko, Marie Simon, depending on if you want to use a government name, and Zaya Brookside coming in and cornering off the female side of Birthright. Make them a little more serious. You know, Birthright's great if you can sell Lexis King on being like his dad. A loose cannon, but also well versed in the ring when he's up against somebody of greater ilk. The fact that they're factoring in a Nemeth brothers split with Nick paying his respects to the babies and Ryan kind of going, oh wow, you're my big brother, and yet you're doing all this. Anybody that was brave enough to wear Steelers colors in Cleveland probably shouldn't have an opinion on what his first ballot Hall of Fame big brother is doing to give back to the business. Whether on TV, behind the scenes, in an independent somewhere in New York City for Creative Pro, or Long Island for Creative Pro. I think a lot of people just... What's the best way to put this? Let their opinions do the talking and not let the match itself be what speaks. And then, to finish off this real quick, I guess it's Broken season again in TNA. We're getting Broken Matt Hardy and Will the Wisp back on our TV screens. And Spad, you gotta remember the phone's gotta be charged before the show. Okay? But this kind of leads into my question about their tie-in with the WWE 2K26 video game and DLC that's coming, that they're a part of, I believe, Season 5. I want to be correct on that one, hopefully. Season 5 of the Ringside Pass. Are we getting just Jeff and Matt? Or might we get Willow and Broken Matt as well as a part of the attires that they get to wear in the game? We'll see. We'll see coming very soon. But let me go ahead and wrap this up, since I give myself an hour. Usually, the show will go as long as I want. Sped, he lets me have my leeway for the most part. But in the coming weeks, months, years, hopefully that this show exists, we're going to have people on. I'm going to be able to talk to talent, interview talent, get into what they're about and why they're worth the sell. We're going to work on getting event interviews on this podcast live, or not necessarily live, but maybe even recorded, And just so that if there's a day I'm not talking, these interviews will do the talking for us. I am so very blessed to be a part of a family of channels and shows under the Sped Rock banner as a veteran ran and led podcast. Sped, I will get. I'm not going to give his government name, but Sped is giving opportunity to veterans to run their own show. Whether it's myself, him, TC, and others. We don't judge your walk of life. We don't sit there and go, oh, hey, because you're this, you're not a part of that. No, we don't play that game here on Sped Rock. The IWC is a family. We have many dysfunctional views. We're like Texas and A&M. Hate each other for as long as they existed. But don't tell us that ain't our dysfunctional kin on the other side. So every November reunion and any other time we get to see him, there isn't a little bit of fun had at the expense of both schools and the events that we get to involve in. More so, I'm going to get to do more things outside of pro wrestling for Sped on the whole damn mess. I get to have my own elimination spot on Point Taken here in the future, the cheap seat, whenever whoever's excused first from the proceedings. As I said, this is a morsel to Sped Rock Productions' biggest, fastest growing show, that being Point Taken. But you can also catch on Thursdays the Running Wrestling podcast with him and Big Mike. On Sundays, you can catch him with Mob Miz, Mob Squad from the Elite Mob podcast. Every Sunday at 7/6 Central, I get to sit in the background and do all the facts and backstage reporting. But it's good times. It's just a bunch of guys and gals, when we can get the gals to say their piece for the product. And we look forward to adding more avenues, not just wrestling, not just sports, not just news, but making this a broader, bigger thing under the Sped Rock Productions banner. Eventually it will be Sped Rock Media, because guess what? We will have our little fingers in every part of the nuanced genres that people looking to know and understand and get information and news on. So with that being said, this is episode 2 on Twitch and episode 2 on YouTube of the new From the Cheap Seats podcast. See me again next Saturday as we talk the after effects of WrestleMania, what we're leading into for Double or Nothing, and where I see them booking Slammiversary. This has been From Cheap Seats Wrestling Podcast. My name is Chris Branson. You can catch me on all those links down there. All of them. X, Blue Sky, Instagram, Twitch, Discord. Just don't hope to find me on Facebook or TikTok. But with that being said, I hope you all have a great WrestleMania Saturday and a great WrestleMania Sunday. Enjoy WrestleCon if you're in Vegas. Enjoy the GCW collective of shows, either at the Palms or other places that GCW is holding stuff. And be well. Be good. Be good to each other. Peace.